What's up guys, my name is Alex and today we're going to take a look at how to replace the battery on your Fitbit Alta. I did one of these videos for my Fitbit Blaze a while back and I realized I have the Alta lying around, which is quite an old Fitbit. So if you want to breathe some life into it, maybe you want to replace the battery on yours as well. And in this video I'll show you how to do it. So this is the Fitbit Alta right here, and the first thing you want to do is you want to take out these bands. So you just push on this clip and you take it out. So you're just left with the middle piece. Now at this point it was kind of weird because I didn't see any screws, so I wasn't sure how this kind of disassembles. So I just started poking around at it and I noticed that what you need to do is you need to take something like an X-Acto knife and kind of start working it from the sides. And you want to start pushing it from the left or the right side, not from the top and the bottom, because on this side it's just easier to like pry apart. So let's do that now. And be careful with it because it's just held by plastic tabs, and if you break those, you're basically gonna destroy your Fitbit. So just work it kind of slowly. And I don't know if you can notice on camera, but I pried it up a little bit right now. There's a little gap between where the screen kind of meets the body of the Fitbit. So once you have that going, you can use something like a flathead screwdriver to kind of push it in there and just pry it apart. And again, just be careful, be patient, don't go too fast so that you don't break the little plastic tabs. And you'll see it's kind of starting to come apart right now. And at some point you can just kind of pull on it and it pulls apart. Now these are the tabs I was talking about. So there's 2 tabs on this side and 2 tabs on the other side, and that's basically all that's holding this piece together with the back piece. There's no screws, there's no glue, there's no nothing like that. So if you kind of destroy those tabs in this process, there's nothing that's going to be holding the Fitbit together anymore, and obviously you don't want that. So just be patient, go slowly, and eventually it's gonna come apart. The first time I did this, it was a bit more difficult than what I just showed you, because this is the second time I'm opening it up for camera. But it wasn't that crazy. Like, just have patience with it. Okay, so once that's out, this is what you're gonna be left with. And you can see, let me see if I can get it on camera. So you can see that the screen is in the middle, and what you want to do is you want to kind of pull up on this screen, because there's a screw behind it we need to get to. So you need to pull up on the screen to unglue it from the rest of the body. And there's a little bit of double-sided tape that's holding it in, so it's not held in like super tight, but still you need to kind of pull upon it so that it comes apart. So the best way to do that is just, kind of stick a fingernail or something on this side, or maybe a flathead screwdriver, and then pull up, and it's gonna come apart. So now it came apart super easy for me now because I've done it once. The first time was a little bit more difficult. If it helps you any, over here on this side of the Fitbit, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's these 2 metal tabs that are kind of holding in the circuit board to the rest of the body. So if you line this up so that those metal tabs are on the left side, then you need to pull up from the top, not the bottom. The reason I'm saying that is because, and I'll just pull it up and then slowly just kind of flip it over. The reason I'm saying that is because the screen is actually glued to this part of the Fitbit. So this little metal part right there. So it's easier to start peeling it from the top because there's not a lot of glue holding it over here. There's a bit more holding it down there. So if you line up those tabs to be on the left side, and this is basically, when you look at the Fitbit, this is the side where the screen connects to the rest of the body. So if you line it up so that's on the left side, start pulling from the top towards the bottom, and it's gonna kind of unglue itself. And then you can just flip the screen over. Again, just be careful, go slowly so that you don't rip the ribbon cable that's right here, because again, you're gonna destroy your Fitbit. Once you're at this stage, there's just one screw that we need to deal with, which is this one right here. And that's a super tiny Torx T2 screw. So I got a T2 bit right there. And I'll put links in the description of where you can buy these tips if you don't have them. I'll also put a link in the description of where you can buy the extra battery. These are going to be my Amazon referral links, so if you purchase through those links, I get a small kickback and you help support the channel, so thank you in advance for that. Anyway, so now that you have this bit, and the screw over here is not torqued too tightly or anything like that, so you can actually unscrew it just by using the bit itself. I don't even need a screwdriver. Let me just see. Okay, there we go. And there we go. That's a super tiny T2 Torx screw. So I'm just gonna leave that off to the side. And once you can see that this thing is already kind of starting to come apart, come loose, because that screw is the only thing that's holding it in. So at that point, you can just kind of wiggle it around, and you'll be able to take the main board out. And if you flip it over, the battery is right there. It's a bit dark right now. I don't know if you can see that, but basically this is the battery right there. And the battery is held together with the back piece by some double-sided tape. It's not held strongly or anything like that, so you can just put a screwdriver right here on the side and just kind of lift it up a little bit, and it comes apart. And there we go. So that's, you just put this aside. So it's basically apart right now. At this point, we're basically ready to desolder the old battery from the Fitbit before we can solder on the new one. And the thing to note here is basically the configuration in which this is in the Fitbit housing, so that we can put it together the same way. So the way I had it, the battery was over there, and then this whole thing just kind of wraps around it, and the screen is on top. So if you look at the Fitbit right there, you'll see the terminals where the battery connects to the motherboard of the device. And you can see that the left terminal here is the red wire, and the right terminal is the black wire. And that's obviously important because when you're desoldering and resoldering the new battery, you want to keep the polarity the same. Otherwise, you're probably not gonna break the device, but it's not gonna work, obviously. Okay, so now I'm gonna desolder the old battery from the Fitbit from these two terminals. And I'll try doing it this way. If not, I'll just get like helping hands or something to help me with it. I'm pulling on the battery slightly as I'm doing this, just so it comes apart. There we go. Okay, so now that that's done, you're gonna take the new battery, and I actually already replaced this, so this is the new battery for me. I just did it for camera again, just so you can see what the whole process is. You're gonna take the new battery, and what you might need to do, and this is something I actually needed to do, you might need to shorten these leads a little bit on the new battery to match the length on the old one. It's not absolutely necessary that you do that, but if you do that, it's going to help you keep everything tidy inside the case. If the wires are too long, you might have difficulty putting everything back together the way it was. So you want to make the lengths of those wires be the same length as obviously as before, so you can just compare the new battery with the old one. So that's one thing you need to keep an eye out for. The other thing is you may want to put some double-sided tape on the new battery as well, in case you want to, stick it back down here. I have some double-sided tape on this side. Honestly, with how packed the whole thing is inside of the case, I don't think that's absolutely necessary. I think it's going to be fine even if you don't do that. But if you want to, you can put some double-sided tape. Just make sure to note the orientation of the battery so that you don't put the double-sided tape on the wrong side. Like the double-sided tape should be on the bottom side of the battery as it stays in the case. Okay, so now that you're going to take obviously your new battery, you want to solder it back into the same terminals as before. And again, just pay attention to polarity. The red wire goes to the left in this orientation and the black wire goes to the right. So let me just solder that back in. Okay, there we go. Sorry if the camera is losing focus. So I just soldered the leads back in to where they go. A red one on the left, black one on the right. And that's pretty much it. You've essentially replaced your battery. At this point, technically, you can even try and see if it's charging before you put it back together, although it might be a bit tricky because there's a lot of, if you see these pins over here, there's a lot of connections which are mechanical connections, so you kind of have to put it back in place for it to work normally. So we just have to put it back the way we took it apart. So this battery just kind of wraps around and wraps around underneath that way with the wires coming out from this side, and it goes down in the housing. I'm just gonna put that back down, and then I should mention probably that right here you can see those little metal tabs that I was talking about earlier. Right there, those two metal tabs are holding the motherboard in place. So when you're putting this back together, you kind of have to go from the right side and then push it onto the left side so that those metal tabs kind of catch on to the motherboard and hold it in place. So basically you push it down, and then kind of from this side you push that way to catch the motherboard in place. Okay, so now we can flip the screen over again the way it was before, and we can take back our T2 screw, the super tiny one, and put it back together. There we go. Don't over tighten it or anything like that. It wasn't held super strongly even the first time I was disassembling this, so just, you know, basically I'm not even using a screwdriver at this point. I'm just hand tightening it with just the bit itself. Okay, so once that's done, at this point, as I said, there's some glue on the screen holding it back to this piece right here. I don't think you necessarily have to add more glue. If you just disassemble and reassemble it once, I think the glue is just gonna kind of still be there a little bit. If you need to, you can potentially add a little bit of glue or something along this metal piece, right? Oh, let me just focus that right there along that metal piece. Don't add too much though, and it's probably better if you just cut out a little bit of double-sided tape or something that's not gonna hold it super strongly if you ever need to disassemble it again. Okay, then you just flip the screen over and you kind of stick it where it used to be. You might want to wipe down the screen or something at this point, because once you cover it with this lid, if there's any fingerprints or anything, you wouldn't be able to access it afterwards. And then you just have to put the lid on. Now, the one thing to mention here is that in this orientation right here, in this corner, I don't know if you can, let me see if I can bring that closer to the camera. So right there, there's a little piece that's kind of sticking out in this corner, this kind of golden piece right there. That piece has to touch this corner. You see the shiny corner right over there? That piece has to touch that corner, meaning this corner has to go there, right? So when you're reassembling it, make sure that corner with the shiny piece here touches that piece over there, and you don't flip it around this way or something like that. So there we go, that's that corner. You just flip it around here and you push it down. So as I said before, when I was disassembling it, nothing's really holding this down. It's just these plastic tabs. So again, in order to reassemble it, you just have to be kind of careful and gentle with it, and you know, slowly kind of push it in place. There we go. I'm just making sure it's on super tight. There shouldn't be any gaps, obviously, around the Fitbit at any point. I realized that half of this video is out of focus, but hopefully you were able to follow along with what I was saying. So there shouldn't be any gaps or anything like that. Everything should sit super flush. You see, basically as it came from the factory. And that's pretty much it. That's how you replace the battery on your Fitbit Alta. As I said before, I'll put some links in the description below where you can find a new battery or the tools needed to perform this. If you purchase through those links, I get a small kickback, so thank you for that. and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this helps somebody. If this is the type of content you enjoy, consider subscribing, consider liking the video and all that good stuff. And until next time, peace.